A woman who ran the financial backbone of one of the world's most powerful drug cartels has re-emerged in a video that is circulating across every corner of the internet. The woman behind the viral clip is Rosalinda Gonzalez Valencia, the wife of Nemesio El Mencho Oseguera Cervantes, who was killed by Mexican special forces in February 2026. So with El Mencho gone and his wife surfacing on video after months of silence, the internet has a lot of questions, and that's where this story begins. On February 22, 2026, a Sunday morning in the mountains of Tapalpa, Jalisco, Mexico's most notorious cartel leader, Nemesio Ruben Oseguera Cervantes, known as El Mencho, was killed during a major military raid. Mexican authorities tracked the cartel boss to a remote mountainside resort, where he and his armed associates were hiding. The operation was months in the making. Mexico's Defense Secretary Ricardo Trevilla told reporters that one of his lovers helped Mexican agents track down Oseguera, who managed to elude officers all this time. Trevilla told the media that a confidant of one of Oseguera's girlfriends tipped off officials who helped plan the raid. The intelligence trail was precise. Surveillance of her movements, including a February 20 meeting in Tapalpa, led security forces straight to El Mencho's hideout and the operation that followed, resulting in the drug lord's death. When forces descended on the compound, the Mexican military deployed its special forces. El Mencho's men opened fire, and he and others were killed in the ensuing firefight. El Mencho was killed in the ensuing operation, described as pretty violent. The police recovered an arsenal of assault weapons and 2 rocket launchers. The former police officer who co-founded the criminal organization New Generation Jalisco Cartel, CJNG, was fatally injured during extraction. Though he was airlifted to Mexico City, he died during transit. Immediately, Mexico began to burn. Following his death at the hands of police, violence exploded across the country. There was chaos at Guadalajara Airport with reports of gunfire, fires and roadblocks in Puerto Vallarta, and now over 70 people have died as a result of the violence. Trevilla reported that 25 National Guard members were killed in the ensuing clashes, while Security Secretary Omar Garcia Harfuch confirmed 30 cartel members died in attacks on authorities. Vehicles were set ablaze to form roadblocks. Highways in more than half a dozen states were shut down. The state of Jalisco suspended classes. Civilians were told to stay in their homes. The head of the snake had been severed, but the body was thrashing violently, and almost immediately the internet turned its attention to the people closest to El Mencho. As authorities tighten security across the region, attention has shifted to one pressing question: where is Rosalinda Gonzalez Valencia, also known as La Jefa? Officials have yet to confirm her current location. Her absence from official briefings has intensified speculation, at a time when cartel dynamics remain fragile and volatile. Then, weeks of silence later, a video surfaced. Rosalinda Gonzalez Valencia, the wife of the most wanted man in the Western Hemisphere, appeared on camera. The clip spread like wildfire across social media platforms, pulling millions of views and raising a single thundering question: what is La Jefa doing? And what happens now? And that story begins long before El Mencho ever fired a gun. Rosalinda Gonzalez Valencia was not thrust into the world of organized crime. She was born into it. Born in rural Michoacán, Rosalinda grew up in a family of 18 siblings and was the eldest of her sisters. The place was Aguililla, a small rural municipality, nestled among verdant mountains and rolling farmland. Her family originally grew avocados, but eventually turned to cultivating marijuana and opium poppy. It was a gradual shift, one that mirrored the transformation of many families, when legal agriculture yielded too little, and the demand from north of the border yielded far too much. The Valencia family made a choice that would alter the trajectory of Mexican organized crime for the next half-century. In the 1970s, her family formed the Milenio Cartel, the predecessor group of the CJNG, and began trafficking narcotics from Mexico to the United States. At the head of this family enterprise was Rosalinda's uncle, Armando Valencia Cornelio, which was one of the groups that eventually turned into the CJNG in around 2010. Under El Maradona's control, the Milenio Cartel grew into a significant trafficking operation that moved product across multiple Mexican states and deep into the markets of California and beyond. Rosalinda grew up watching all of this unfold. Her brothers, her cousins, her uncles, all embedded in the family business. The Gonzalez Valencia family was instrumental to the growth of the CJNG, taking control of the financial aspect of the cartel. They were not the ones moving shipments across the desert or fighting territorial wars in the streets. They were the ones who built the labyrinthine financial structures that made the violence profitable. They founded the group known as Los Queenies, which amassed a veritable empire of assets through which to launder millions in criminal profits for the CJNG, including shopping malls, hotels, real estate agencies, restaurants, and a tequila company. Before she ever met El Mencho, Rosalinda reportedly had a relationship with her own uncle, Armando Valencia Cornelio. They would have at least one child together, Juan Carlos Valencia Gonzalez, and she began dating Nemesio Oseguera Cervantes, El Mencho. El Mencho's backstory is equally gritty, but far more modest. He was not born into a cartel dynasty. He was a former avocado field worker and on-time police officer who had been deported from the United States. El Mencho, a former police officer deported from the U.S., worked security for marijuana plantations, tied to her family. That job brought him face-to-face with the Valencia clan. He was ambitious, ruthless, and operational. She was connected, strategic, and financially literate. The two married in 1996, and this union merged El Mencho's operational muscle with the family's financial expertise. Gonzalez has often been described as La Jefa, the Spanish feminine form of the boss, and the title was not a courtesy. It described a function. According to Mexico's Secretariat of the Interior, Gonzalez oversaw the CJNG's financial and legal resources, including over 70 businesses affiliated with the criminal group. While El Mencho conquered territory and waged brutal warfare with rival cartels like Los Zetas, if El Mencho represented the cartel's violent face, Gonzalez represented its economic spine. Their children, Ruben Oseguera Gonzalez, known as El Menchito, Jessica Johanna Oseguera Gonzalez, and Laisha Oseguera, would all become entangled in the family's criminal enterprises, and Rosalinda's son from her first relationship, Juan Carlos Valencia Gonzalez. For years, the Mexican government pursued a familiar strategy: target the kingpin. El Mencho had a $15 million U.S. bounty on his head and was considered among the most wanted men in the world. But while the state focused almost exclusively on the man with the guns, the woman who managed the money moved through the system with far less scrutiny, at least for a while. On 26 May 2018, Gonzalez was arrested by the Mexican Navy in Zapopan, Jalisco, for her alleged involvement in money laundering. The arrest was supposed to be a significant blow, a direct hit to the CJNG's financial core, but the legal system told a different story. After 3 months of hearings and legal battles, a judge granted her release from prison after she paid a MXN $1.5 million bail. Gonzalez's trial was held behind closed doors. The charges, despite the fanfare surrounding her arrest, seemed to evaporate quietly in the legal machinery. 3 years passed, Rosalinda moved freely, and then, on 15th of November 2021, Gonzalez was recaptured. This time, Gonzalez Valencia was arrested in Guadalajara, Mexico, in November 2021 and charged with laundering money for the hyper-violent Jalisco New Generation Cartel, CJNG, which her, possibly former husband, allegedly runs. But once again, the prosecution fell short of its most dramatic claims. In December 2023, she was sentenced to 5 years in prison for failing to disclose transactions related to a car wash she ran. A car wash. The woman, accused of overseeing 70-plus businesses for one of the most powerful criminal organizations on the planet, was convicted for hiding financial transactions tied to a car wash in Puerto Vallarta. The organized crime charges themselves could not stick. Her defense successfully argued that prosecutors failed to demonstrate her membership in any criminal organization. Then, nearly as quietly as she had entered the prison system, she left it. She was given an early release from prison in February 2025. Rosalinda Gonzalez Valencia was released on February 27, 2025, after a judge ordered her liberation due to good behavior. The court determined that La Jefa had already served more than half of her sentence, and with that, the most powerful woman in the CJNG walked out of the Federal Center for Social Readaptation for Women in Coatlan del Rio, Morelos, and disappeared from public view. Currently, there is no updated information on Rosalinda Gonzalez Valencia, nor on her whereabouts after having been released almost a year ago. For nearly 12 months, Rosalinda Gonzalez Valencia was a ghost. No public appearances, no known interviews, no social media traces. Mexican security agencies did not announce any surveillance protocols in her name. Officials have not announced any new detention, warrant, or confirmed relocation tied to her name. That's what makes the viral video so staggering. A woman who had been invisible for a year, who had expertly evaded public attention while her husband's cartel crumbled under the weight of his death, suddenly appeared on camera, and the internet lost its collective mind. Before we come back to Rosalinda and her video, there is a parallel storyline that erupted in the wake of El Mencho's death, one that reveals how chaotic and dangerous the information landscape surrounding cartel events can become. When Mexico's Defense Secretary Trevilla told the press that one of El Mencho's romantic partners had inadvertently led authorities to his hideout, the internet scrambled to identify who that woman might be. Rumors began circulating on social media, naming Maria Julissa as the woman who slept with El Mencho and tipped off the police. Maria Julissa, a Mexican OnlyFans model and influencer, denied rumors that she was the mistress who inadvertently led authorities to the slain CJNG leader. After an AI photo that appeared to show them together went viral on social media, viral posts along with an AI photo spread across Spanish social media, claiming that Maria Julissa was the alleged lover of the cartel boss. A photo showing Julissa with El Mencho is also circulating online and is attracting a lot of attention. However, experts caution that relying on photos to link the influencer with the intelligence operation would not be wise. Julissa moved quickly to deny everything. She posted on Instagram, which has more than 3.6 million followers. On Tuesday, February 24th, streamer Mr. Steven TC. Then came the cartel's response. The gang sent her a sinister warning after seeing claims she turned El Mencho in. For a woman who had nothing to do with any intelligence operation, the danger was suddenly very real. The actual woman at the center of the intelligence trail that led to El Mencho's death was, according to leaked government documents, not Maria Julissa at all. Guadalupe Moreno Carrillo's identity gained public relevance after documents leaked by Guacamaya Leaks placed her as an indirect contributor to the tracking of the whereabouts of El Mencho. Although authorities have not confirmed that the sentimental meeting he had was with her, the reports released since October 2022 by the hacking of the National Defense Secretariat, SEDINA, describe her as part of the criminal boss inner circle, especially after the arrest of his wife, Rosalinda Gonzalez Valencia, for the second time in November 2021. According to the documents, it was after that arrest that the relationship between Moreno Carrillo and Oseguera Cervantes reportedly began. So here's the picture. El Mencho and Rosalinda separated around 2018. According to SEDINA, Rosalinda and El Mencho had been separated since 26 May 2018, and he was in a relationship with a woman named Guadalupe Moreno Carrillo since that time. In spite of this, Rosalinda and El Mencho still remain married as of January 2025. A separated wife, a new girlfriend, an innocent influencer dragged into the crossfire by AI-generated photos and viral speculation. And now a video of the original wife, the one they call La Jefa, surfacing at the most volatile moment in CJNG history. The case highlights how rumors can spread rapidly on platforms like X and Instagram, often blurring the line between verified information and misinformation. But while the Maria Julissa saga was a sideshow fueled by confusion, the Rosalinda video was something else entirely. It was deliberate, it was timed, and it sent a message that many analysts believe was meant not for the public, but for the cartel itself. To understand why Rosalinda Gonzalez Valencia's video went viral, you have to understand what her silence meant. For nearly a year after her prison release, and especially in the weeks following El Mencho's death, the most powerful woman in the CJNG was nowhere to be found. The absence of clear information fueled speculation online, but authorities have not verified claims that she is missing or directing cartel operations from hiding. Some observers speculated she had fled Mexico. Others believed she had been quietly detained, and still others argued she was doing exactly what she had always done, managing power from the shadows, just as she had for decades. Then the video appeared, Rosalinda, alive, composed and speaking directly to camera, offered what many interpreted as a public signal of her continued presence and relevance. The clip rocketed across TikTok, X, Instagram, and Telegram channels dedicated to narco-trafficking news. Within hours, it had millions of views and had been dissected by journalists, analysts, and cartel watchers from Mexico City to Washington, D.C. The timing was not accidental. On March 18, 2026, the Wall Street Journal reported that Gonzalez's son from her first marriage, Juan Carlos Valencia Gonzalez, also identified by his aliases El Tricky Tres, El Pelon 3, El 3, and Palacas, was now the CJNG's new leader. On April 6, 2026, El País also confirmed this. Her son Juan Carlos Valencia Gonzalez was still regarded as El Mencho's de facto second-in-command by the Director of National Intelligence's National Counterterrorism Center. Let that settle in. The new leader of the CJNG is not one of El Mencho's biological children. It is the son of Rosalinda Gonzalez Valencia from her previous relationship, a man who carries the blood of the Valencia clan that founded the entire criminal ecosystem from which the CJNG was born. El Mencho's influence was acknowledged by February 2026 to have been greatly aided through his marriage to Gonzalez. Through Gonzalez, the niece of Milenio Cartel founder Armando Valencia Cornelio, El Mencho was able to recruit numerous former Milenio Cartel members into the CJNG. With El Mencho dead, with his biological son El Menchito imprisoned in the United States, his son, Ruben Oseguera Gonzalez, known as El Menchito, remains in U.S. custody after extradition, and with his daughter Jessica having already served time in U.S. prison, the succession has fallen to Rosalinda's lineage, her son, her family, her blood. Cartels endure because someone moves the money, launders the profits, manages the assets, cultivates legitimate fronts, and binds networks of loyalty through family. And in the case of CJNG, that person has always been Rosalinda. The video, then, is not merely a viral curiosity. It is a statement of continuity. Cartels are not merely built around a single dominant figure. They are hybrid enterprises combining coercion, corporate structures, and family governance. The removal of the public face does not automatically dismantle the private architecture. Experts who study the intersection of gender and organized crime have long argued that the fixation on kingpins distorts our understanding of how cartels actually function. We fixate on the spectacle of masculine violence, while overlooking the quieter, gendered infrastructures that sustain it. To understand cartels solely through their kingpins is to misunderstand them. Power in organized crime does not reside only in the man with the gun, but also in the women who, whether publicly acknowledged or not, often stand at the center of that architecture. Rosalinda's video fits squarely into this framework. Her husband is dead. Her stepson's son now leads the organization. And she, a woman who has been arrested, convicted, imprisoned, and released, sits at the nexus of it all, not with a gun, not with a territorial claim, but with the financial knowledge, the family connections, and the institutional memory of an organization worth billions. U.S. law enforcement officials previously suggested that the family's wealth could range from hundreds of millions to over $1 billion. An old report from Univision claimed that El Mencho and his family had a net worth of around at least USD 500 million and possibly exceeding USD 1 billion. That is the empire Rosalinda presides over. And the video, whether it was meant as reassurance to cartel members, a signal to rivals, or simply a personal expression in the wake of losing the man she shared decades with, has made one thing clear to the world. La Jefa is still here. She has survived prison. She has survived the fall of her husband, and with her son now reportedly at the helm of the CJNG, the Gonzalez Valencia bloodline, the same family that once grew avocados in rural Michoacán before turning to marijuana in the 1970s, controls the most powerful criminal organization in the Western Hemisphere. The video went viral because it answered a question that millions of people had been asking since February 22nd. What happened to El Mencho's wife? Now we know she's not hiding. She's not running. And if history is any guide, she never was.